And good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's Big South Football Coaches Media Teleconference. This is Mark Simpson here at the conference office as we review Week 6 and talk about Week 7, the start of Big South play with 2 games on the slate. But first, let's go into our announcements leading up to our coaches. Our weekly Players of the Week from this past weekend. First, the Choice Hotels Offensive Player of the Week was Gardner-Webb quarterback Lucas Beatty. The Big South Defensive Player of the Week, Liberty cornerback Kenny Scott. Our Special Teams Player of the Week was Presbyterian College punter Stephen Dorr. And the Kronz Brand Freshman of the Week, Gardner-Webb tight end Mike Eston. And some additional notes to pass along. From this past week, first news yesterday afternoon, Charleston Southern entered the top 25 rankings for the second time in school history, coming in at number 25 in the FCS Coaches Poll. We mentioned our 2 Big South games coming up this weekend, including Gardner-Webb and Coastal Carolina on ESPN3. Charleston Southern running back Christian Reyes is closing in on the Buccaneers' single-season rushing record already. This past weekend, Gardner-Webb and Charlotte set the Big South single-game record for combined plays with 186. Coastal Carolina is averaging 51.3 points, 358.7 rushing yards, and close to 600 yards of offense in its last 3 games. Liberty tight end Brandon Apon tied the Big South career record for most touchdown receptions by a tight end with 6, catching one at Old Dominion. Following his 389-yard performance at Charlotte, Lucas Beatty is now tied for second on the Big South career list for most 300-yard passing games with 5. Entering this week, VMI quarterback Eric Kordenbrock needs 262 passing yards to become the 7th Big South quarterback with 6,000 in a career. Already this season, the Big South has recorded 6 50-point games, which is 2 away from the league record of 8. And last week we talked about it on this call. Coastal Carolina linebacker Quinn Backus was added to the Buck Buchanan Award watch list as a candidate for the National Defensive Player of the Year. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to our coaches. The first coach this morning is the head coach of the Running Bulldogs, Carroll McCray, coming off a tough loss at Charlotte and heading to Coastal Carolina in our ESPN3 Game of the Week. Coach, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll take questions after that.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Good to be here this morning. Certainly coming off a difficult day for us up in Charlotte this past week, and we did have some young men that stepped up and played very, very well, but we did not play well as a team, and we had opportunities to represent the Big South a lot better than we did, and we didn't take advantage of that, and we got a lot of work to do with our team. So we're refocusing this week. On the things that we struggled with. We did execute a little bit better offensively at times and get some things done. I thought we had some problems in our kicking game in spots that we need to improve throughout the week. And then defensively, we didn't play as well in any area as we should have played. We played in spurts, but we didn't play with much consistency. And yet at that, we built a little bit of a lead heading to the fourth quarter, and as usual, turnovers always come back to bite you. Had a big turnover first play of the fourth quarter, and allowed UNC Charlotte to start to gain some momentum, and we didn't show very much maturity when things turned on us a little bit, and the game got away from us. But thought our kids did continue to fight, went down and had a pretty long drive, down 8 points and scored with just a minute to go, and went for 2 and could not convert the 2-point conversion to try to go into overtime. But so, credit goes to them. They made plays down the stretch, and we did not. So a lot of work to do for the Bulldogs this week as we head into Big South play. Very excited about being in the conference play. Certainly headed down to Coastal. Watching the video, they are as advertised with their ranking. They've started the season very, very well, and the things that I've seen on video, they deserve all the attention they have gotten to this point, and be a great challenge for us headed back on the road, trying to work on our team to try to find a way to win a ball game. As you mentioned, offensively, very, very explosive. I think it starts up front, a very mature offensive line. A lot of games started with that five-man unit up front, and then their quarterback is an outstanding player that distributes the football through the run and pass to their fine duo of tailbacks, along with some very potent wide receivers that the entire league knows about, probably even more than I do because they've been around, looks like, for a long time. So very explosive there, and pretty diverse defensively. They got some skilled guys that can really roll up there and play man and challenge your receivers, which allows more people to be in the box. And as you mentioned, Quinn Backus and his running mate in there, McClure, are outstanding linebackers that make tons of plays for them. So very, very talented football team, and we'll have to make sure that we're very focused, and we'll have to make sure we play a 60-minute ball game to challenge a team like this.
Thank you, Coach. At this time, we'll take questions for Gardner-Webb head coach Carroll McCray. To ask a question, please press *1 on your phone at any time, or click the Q&A link near the top of your browser, and click raise hand if you joined us via the web. Questions for Gardner-Webb head coach Carroll McCray. And, Coach, first question for you is from Matt Hogue, who's calling the game this week on ESPN3.
Okay.
Coach, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Matt?
Doing well. Obviously, last week some points were given up, and I know you mentioned the turnovers that kind of had your defense in a tough spot. But just kind of looking over the entirety of the season, you guys have really stepped up on the defensive side of the ball. What do you see has been the key to the improvement on that side of the line?
Well, I think when we've shown improvement, it's the kids have really gone with their coaching, and now they've been very, very unselfish. They've played their responsibility. They've done what they've been asked to do. They've communicated very well and got lined up properly, and then the things that have allowed us to have some success defensively and make improvement are the very things that we allowed to get away from us last week after we had some turnovers offensively, and we had some poor alignments caused by poor communication, and then we had some kids kind of doing their own thing as opposed to going with their coaching, and it came back to bite us. So, that's kind of the good and the bad of it, what we've seen so far. But we have had some improvement, and we've really got to get back to focusing on those things that allowed us to have improvement.
Tell us a little bit about Kenny Cook. We've seen him in the league before, but just what kind of player he is, what kind of kid he is for you guys. He's really seemed to step up as one of those big players.
Yeah. Well, I'd say probably my biggest compliment about Kenny, he doesn't talk very much. He kind of just comes out and works every day. He's a very quiet young man, and two things: he practices like he plays, and that's always a good sign for a really good player. And then the other thing, he is very, very unselfish. There's no doubt in my mind, if we could have won 54-53 on this past Saturday, he would have been much more happy about our team effort than he would about catching a lot of balls and attention on him. So, a high-character young man that certainly has ability, and, we're thankful right now he's playing for us, that's for sure.
We'll see you down here on Saturday.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt. And, Coach, next question for you is from Ryan Young of the Sun News in Myrtle Beach.
Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Fine, Ryan. How are you today?
Good. Just kind of building off what Matt asked about the overall strong start. When you came in, how did you go about getting the players to buy in immediately and working towards these immediate results, so to speak?
Well, we really didn't do anything, out of our character as a staff. We just tried to come in and work hard to be honest with the young men, make sure they knew our plan and knew the schedule each and every day, where they felt like they knew what was going to go on prior to, each of the day's events. And, we just asked them to kind of settle down and work hard at being the best they could be individually. That would in turn allow us to have a better team. And I think that just day by day trying to do your best to become a better person and a better student and a better player has gradually allowed us to be a little more attentive to the small things, which in turn turn into a little bit bigger things as a team and allows you to have some success. But just went back to the small things, that you do daily, where you're in season or out of season, and they've realized that those things do matter. The little things still matter in life, and they help your football team. If everybody will kind of turn, look in the same direction, and they bought into that. They've done a real nice job. They're doing a little bit better job being listeners instead of talkers, and when they do that, then we can try to help them all we can. But they were receptive for us, and I think that's helped us a whole lot.
When you first came in and kind of evaluated what you were taking over, did you see, a team that could start out like this, or did that develop over time? Did you know instantly you had the talent to?
Well, it's just. Well, sorry to interrupt. It's kind of come over time. I mean, we work really hard to study the line of scrimmage, and we know we still have a lot of improvement we have to do up front on both sides of the football. I think you still win and lose games there, and we've worked extremely hard, and we're still a program in progress. We're still a growing program, but we wanted to develop our linemen a little bit better on both sides of the ball, and as they've grown a little bit, we've had more success, on each side. We knew we had a few skilled people. I'd heard about Kenny Cook and, Juwan Blunt coming back as our second leading rusher, and then we had some other receivers and things. But it's kind of grown on us to see what we are. We still have a lot to do, but I think if you look at our team and you look at Coastal Carolina's team, if you look up front, that's where you see the teams that are ranked very, very high and are very, very potent. Regardless of your skill talent, I think it still always goes to your front guys and how hard they're willing to work to develop themselves on a continual basis throughout the season.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ryan. And, Coach, we don't have any more questions for you. I got one quick one before we let you go.
Okay.
Talk about Mike Estes, your redshirt freshman tight end, and now he's kind of emerged with Seth Cranfield coming back, just how those two together could be an asset for you.
Well, Mike has developed rather quickly over the last few weeks when Seth Cranfield started to struggle with a leg injury. I think it was in a Richmond game. And, Mike's got a lot of ability. I think the best thing he's done, he's worked. He's becoming a little better blocker, which we need in our offense. And but he stepped up and made some really big plays last week. We know he can catch the ball and run with it, so that's exciting to see. And now he's trying to be a better all-around player. But if we can get Seth back and then have Mike continue to develop, then hopefully we'll give us a little bit of balance there at tight end, which we need to go with those wide receivers. So very, very excited about Mike and for Mike, and we hope he'll continue to improve.
All right, thanks, Coach. That's all we've got for you. Appreciate you joining us.
All right.
Good luck Saturday at Coastal.
Thanks, Mark. Good luck to all the Big South teams. Appreciate what y'all do. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.